stuff. Welcome, everybody, to Philly Sports Talk with Cash and Chris right here on IE Sports Radio. IE Sports Radio is your direct feed for all that is sports. You are listening to Philly Sports Talk with Cash and Chris. We are bringing you the most comprehensive view of Philadelphia sports by fans for fans. Welcome, everyone, to another Tuesday night. I am Chris Amos, and joining me, as always, Bobby. What's going on?
As always, I'm here. 31 episodes in. What's going on? I don't know. Where do we begin? What's going on? We have, I guess, breaking news to cover in Philadelphia. Our favorite foul shooter, Ben Simmons.
Yeah, I guess he just showed up, didn't he?
Yeah, he knocked on the door, and he wanted a COVID test, apparently. It was 9 o'clock last night. Somebody, I guess the custodian, let him in.
It's just a situation to where it's just a soap opera that's continuing.
Yeah, and what do you expect from it? It's not going to end well. There can't be a happy ending. This guy is not a normal guy. I think he has something wrong in his head, to tell you the truth, and the team's going to, I guess, do everything they have to do to try to welcome him, but the last couple of days you watch highlights of him, when he made his three-pointer, when he couple dunks. Every time Embiid would go over to congratulate him or shake his, or give him a high, he doesn't even smile on the court. He's something. He's different. He's just different.
Yeah, and at this point, I guess where I come down on things, I just have a problem looking at this from a larger view. I blame the Sixers. I mean, what you said about Ben Simmons is true, but at this point, I blame the Philadelphia 76ers. I blame Glenn Rivers. Just given the fact that if you couldn't have seen something like this coming, I don't know what you're doing.
Well, I think they tried to trade him. They intended on trading him, it just didn't materialize. He probably can't be an easy guy to trade, and they're going to try to get the world for him. I just don't think any teams are lining up to give it to them. So.
No, that's my opinion. I think there's a lot of teams out there who would like to have Ben Simmons, but none of those teams are going to help the Sixers to get Ben Simmons.
Right. You want the packages we've spoke about, the Sacramento Kings and the Pacers was probably the best they were going to do. And Malcolm Brogdon, I think is a decent player. I mean, he's a borderline all-star, 20-point-a-game guy. He plays a little D. You get him and a LeVert. I don't know why they just pulled the trigger. They're not going to get Damian Lillard. That's a pipe dream. That's not happening.
Yeah, I agree with that. And
either you keep him, you move him, and keeping him here is not going to end well. He's not going to come out and start shooting the ball. It's not going to happen.
No, and next week the season starts, the 20th, right?
Yeah. And he has 8 days to get in the offense. It's just disrupting things at this point. And I'd like to be in the room when he walks in with the team.
Yeah, because I guess the Pelicans are game 1. And
yeah, back to back, just up the bat, right?
And Brooklyn's game 2.
Yeah.
I don't like the Sixers in either of those games. Well, Brooklyn's got their own issues as well.
Yeah. They've told Kyrie to stay away now, right? I mean, he can't be part of the team, so he said either you're all in or you're all out. He can't even practice anymore.
I don't know if that's really bothering him that much.
And will still be a Sixer power to start the season. I don't know how long. Hopefully he comes out and starts hitting threes and scores 20 points a game, so another team will be interested.
Yeah,
we've been down that road. We've been through seasons. We've seen him as an all-star. We've seen him get triple doubles and rebounds and 10 assists, 15 rebounds. Playoffs come, he's a different guy. He's not a playoff player. You're basically playing 4-on-5, half-court offense. Doesn't work.
Yeah, and the Sixers did that. And I guess the other thing too is where I'm blaming the Sixers now with this situation. You look at it now. Ben Simmons is back on the team. This is the same team that lost to the Hawks last year.
Pretty much, yeah. It's Andre Drummond, and
that's the difference, really.
And Niang, Niang's nothing special. I mean, yeah, it's pretty much the same exact team. They really haven't added any stars. It's Tobias Harris, Seth Curry, Danny Green, same players. What do you expect? Different result?
Same coach. So I think, and I could end up being wrong here, but I think a lot of this does come down to Coach Rivers, and I think he wants Ben Simmons on this team, and he thinks that this can work out. I don't think at this point he's looking at Ben Simmons being traded, which is to a point is out of his hands, but not completely. I think he wants Ben Simmons on the team and wants somehow to try to make this work, and I think that's completely misguided.
Yeah, I don't think it can't work. I mean, he's not going to change. He's not going to be a different player. He's not going to unless he says screw it. They want me to shoot, I'll shoot. But he's not that kind of person.
No, and it's one of those things to where going through some social media, listening to some other people who talk about sports in Philadelphia, it's like, well, here's what Ben needs to say to the media, and here's what we want to hear from him. I don't want to hear a thing from Ben Simmons. I don't want to hear press conferences. I don't want to hear what Ben Simmons said behind the scenes. I don't want to hear, in my opinion, okay? You might have a different take on this. Just go play if you're going to be on the team, go play basketball, and don't bring any attention to yourself negatively like you have over the past year. Okay, we know the player you are. We know what you're more than likely going to do on the floor. You're probably going to be the exact same player that you've been before. I don't need to hear you come out and say anything.
He's not going to apologize. I don't think he's wrong.
Right.
He's going to get booed, no question about it. They're going to boo him. I don't know to the point of it's going to be every possession or every time he gets the ball, but I think when he misses his first foul shot, he's going to get booed. When he misses his first layup, his dunk, he's going to get booed. He has to deal with it. He's a professional. He has to deal with it. As far as apologies, the only people he needs to apologize to his teammates. Who knows if he's going to do that? He doesn't seem like that type of guy.
No, he doesn't, and he doesn't seem like the type of guy. And this is where I guess a lot of people are thinking, well, he's still young, and he could. Human nature and different things come into it, but he just doesn't seem like the guy who is going to say, okay, here's the issue, and I need to make that issue go away and do everything I can to prove that what brought this issue about isn't who I am anymore. He just doesn't seem like he's that guy. He seems like he's more the person who's going to go out and do the same thing and say, what's the problem?
Yeah, even if he does, right. Even if he does apologize, it's not going to be for long. It's just going to be just to get through this little section of his life. And it's going to go. Everybody goes back to the way they are. He's going to go back to how he is. I just have to move him. That's enough.
Yeah,
checking out the roster. We've had about the same players. I think Mike Scott's finally out of here. He's not on the team anymore. Got rid of Mike Scott, Dwight Howard, Drummond, and Niang.
And now I'm blanking on the guy's name. I picked up from the Thunder last year, who didn't really do anything. The guy they picked up at the trade deadline.
George Hill.
Yeah, George Hill. Yeah, he's out of here too. But that's not
horrible signing, horrible trade.
Awful. Yeah. Especially when they were talking about James Harden there for a while until Brooklyn got involved and was able to give Houston a lot more than just Ben Simmons with the draft picks and different things. And from listening to go ahead.
Yeah. I was just saying, getting rid of George Hill brings back our show's favorite phrase: addition by subtraction.
Yeah, the first time I ever heard that was from Jerry Stackhouse when he got traded from the Sixers, and he just said, "Well, this is addition by subtraction," and I'm trying to figure out what what that is. Yeah, some of the talk in the national media today concerning Philadelphia and the 76ers, of course, was surrounding this latest stuff with Ben Simmons, but also, interestingly enough, there was some people pointing to the fact that, well, the Sixers are monitoring what's going on in Brooklyn, and they're still trying to figure out a way to get James Harden into Philadelphia. I'm like, I don't care what anyone. James Harden's not coming to Philadelphia. James Harden is going to be a net this season. Now I don't know if he'll go into free agency, and then maybe some things can be different. Because I know he said he wanted to try and do that, but yeah, they got enough issues up there to deal with, and I just don't see the solution to what's going on in Brooklyn is James Harden saying, "Well, no, I'm going to move me to Philadelphia and bring Ben Simmons to Brooklyn," and then I don't see that either. I see Simmons in Sacramento.
Yeah, I don't think Durant would let him come to Brooklyn. I think he already came out and said that. I don't want him there.
Exactly.
Harden's 32. I think he's probably one more contract left in him. 3 years, maybe.
Yeah, and he didn't want that big extension for Houston because I guess he didn't feel like Houston was doing everything that they could to put a winning team on the floor. And wasn't that Daryl Morey?
Yeah.
So I think that would be an issue as well. But I guess if it's trade, there's not too much you can do about that until your contract's up. But no, we're looking at starting this season, which with the way things ended last year, and it's kind of come on us quickly. And I guess when you look at the way the Sixers are now, they're 5 seed maybe, 4 at best.
Well, you're going to go Brooklyn, Miami, I think Milwaukee. I guess you got to put Atlanta ahead of them, so yeah, I guess you're going to go 5.
Yeah, and I don't know if the Bulls, you put the Bulls in there?
Nah, that's the city first.
True.
Right now, just a bunch of guys thrown together. Knows it's going to gel. They may. It'll be a playoff team, I think.
Yeah, I think so.
Adam says on the board, at this point, could the Sixers get anything worthwhile for Simmons? I said maybe Brogdon at this point. I don't see any other trades materializing.
I don't either.
Bradley Beal, maybe.
Well,
Kurt Irving.
Well, Cash, do you subscribe to the theory that once the season starts, there will be some possible good deals for the Sixers, possibly, given the fact that maybe some other teams aren't playing as well as they expected to, and maybe something better than what we're looking at right now could fall into the Sixers' lap?
It depends on how he plays, how he looks, and to a degree what other, maybe an injury. You might need an injury for maybe the Lakers, or Westbrook go down, something like that. It's going to be about other teams' needs and how he's playing. I just hope it doesn't get to the point where he plays so well that we decide to keep him.
or it's just the opposite. He looks so bad that nobody's willing to even really consider it to give you anything back that would help, unless maybe they can move him for George Hill again.
Yeah, regular season he never looks that bad because regular season is a more open game. It's not no defense in this league, and he gets through the regular season. He can look good. He can mask his weaknesses. They're going to win games. That's what they do. He's only really exposed in the playoffs.
Yeah, and he even dropped 42. Wasn't it 42 against the Jazz last year? Out when Embiid out, but he dropped 42 out there in that game. Now he wasn't shooting 3-pointers and 15-foot jump shots to do it, but
I think he was 12 for 12 from the foul line in that game.
Okay, I'm not remembering how well he shot from the foul line in that game, but that's a possibility. I know the Sixers didn't win the game.
Right.
But the regular season game that stands out the most to me last year was the Sixers' home win against the Jazz when Embiid made the game tying three. And then in overtime. But
we were surprised he played because it seems like every time they play Utah, he's back.
Mm-hmm.
I'm not playing against Gobert. Seems like every time they played a big center,
yeah,
he's got to start playing every game this year. It's enough.
There's a lot of talk about him on social media again, and a lot of people with how good he's looked so far in the preseason. I mean, the only thing still that I see going on, he's on the floor a lot.
And Embiid?
Yeah, and this last game he went down hard. And,
yeah, and that's why he only played 8 minutes.
And in one of them, he's being picked up off the floor, and it's like it's one of those things to where every time he goes down, it's just like, oh my goodness. And I'm not a doctor. All I know is I did have meniscus surgery years and years ago, and I know how I was before. I know how I was after, and he didn't have the surgery. And I don't know. I don't know if that's going to come up to be an issue or not. But if he has that, if it gets to the point where at some point this year he can't play because of that, I mean that's going to look bad on the Sixers. That's going to hurt the Sixers. Or if it gets to the point where he's got to have surgery. Oh my goodness! That on top of the Ben Simmons situation, I mean, it could be a disaster this year for this team.
Might be what they need. They might need a season where they win 20 games. I don't know where you never add to a player like Embiid. Because he's going to get you in the playoffs every year. You'll never get a good draft. That's what the Spurs did. Made their franchise.
Yeah, it did. And I guess the reason why it sounds like we have such angst over this is because technically that's the best team out of the four, or if you want to throw the Union in there, who've been playing really, really well. But when we talk about the big four sports, I mean, the Sixers are the team that's the best team out of the four. And when we started this show, it looked like it was possible that the Sixers were going to be in the NBA Finals. Now we're talking about them having to redo the process again.
Yeah.
After 31 shows.
I know, but not totally redo the process. It's one bad year. Thank you for a year. Well, Shane on the chat board said go to Birds, and that's where we'll go next. We're going to go to the Birds. They did win yesterday, Sunday, 21-18 over the Panthers, and not a really great played game from either side. Sam Darnold pretty much handed the Eagles the game. Jalen Hurts through 3 quarters, horrible to say the least. It seems like every time he's in any kind of trouble, he rolls right. That's his motive. He rolls right and throws the ball out of bounds. I don't know if he's being coached that way or if that's what he does.
He has this tendency now that's getting to be really, really old, really, really fast of missing guys who are wide open or guys who are open to passes not where it should be.
Yeah. He's missed Zach Ertz a couple times. Goddard wide open. I mean, the other thing was through the first half and the first half with the screen passes. Miles Sanders had 5 catches for 6 yards in the game.
I know. What was so funny on Sunday was I went from watching the Eagles game, and what you just mentioned is exactly what was going on with the screen passes. After that, it's Dallas against New York, and all New York was doing was screen passes.
That be after Jones got hurt?
It was they were doing a little bit with him in there, but then after he got hurt, it just seemed like that's all they were trying to do. I mean,
that's a back quarterback, and the Eagles have a starting quarterback who they think is a starter, and they don't trust him to throw the ball down the field.
No, and the thing about it is, before we were talking, if you go back a couple of years, what we saw with the Eagles was that idea of, well, you got a guy who can throw the ball down the field, but get him someone to throw it to. Now there's guys to throw it to, and the guy can't throw it down the field.
And I like Watkins. He knows a lot. He missed him on a deep throw, and he saw him after he threw. He was wide open. He would have had a touchdown.
Yep.
He was through one of his underneath passes.
Yeah,
he was like a coverage.
Yeah, some of the passes that he caught, it brings back some some memories of last season and Travis Fulgham, who's no longer, I don't even think he's in the league.
He was released today.
Oh, he was? Wow.
Funny you said that. He was released by the Eagles practice squad today and immediately picked up by Miami Dolphins practice squad. So he got a job right away.
I'm not surprised somebody picked him up, but he fell off the face of the earth really quick after looking like he was going to be the savior for Carson Wentz, and it just I don't know. I don't know if it was him. I don't know if it was Wentz. I don't know if it was Peterson. If it was a combination of things, but
the coaching staff just didn't like him.
Yeah,
I think they also don't like Miles Sanders.
Yeah, that was going to be my point. It seems like that can happen. I don't know if they don't like Miles Sanders. I don't know if it's just that somehow, and I don't know how this goes on in a game where there's not someone in the headset of Sirianni or whatever. It's like, you have that Sanders guy. How about a handoff or two? But
he had 11 carries.
Yeah, he
and
did.
Trying to ice the game, he ran out of bounds twice. So he basically gave the Panthers 2 extra timeouts. And he was in his face. Sirianni was in his face. He didn't like that. That's the kind of thing that gets you benched.
Well, the first time he ran out of bounds, I said I'm sitting here, I'm watching the game with my wife, and I'm sitting there, I'm like, he's got to come out of the game, and
yep.
she was just looking at me not really as big into football to know why him going out of bounds was the problem. And then I explained it, and it's like, couldn't he have just fallen down? It's like, yeah, and they did it again.
Shane makes a good point. He says, with me saying, Jalen Hurts only goes to his right, just like a right-handed basketball player can't use left. I agree.
Well, it's not going to be too long before the Eagles are on our television again because they're playing Thursday night and Buccaneers are coming in. And to me, this is a tough week. This is a bye week for the Eagles.
Who's their quarterback? Buccaneers. They have a good quarterback or what?
He might. I think he hurt his thumb the other day, though.
Better hope so.
Who's the quarterback? Who's their line? Who's their wide receivers? Who's the tight end? I mean, they're all pretty good.
Yeah. Eagles not going to be able to block those guys. It's going to be another 45 pass game from Hurts because you're not going to be able to run. He's going to be running for his life. How about the one play that stood out to me, too? The play that I got the most angry about was when they blocked the punt. The guy jumped on the ball and said, I was screaming, pick it up and run. Pick it up and run. On it. You got to scoop it and run. That's your ball anyway. There's no point in covering it.
Yeah, it's one of those things to where you make, I guess what went through his head is I made this great play, and it's like, oh, there's the ball, and all of a sudden he's thinking it's a fumble. Let me get on top of it. Don't let me just give it back to him, and that isn't what was going to happen.
Well, that's special teams coach. You have to have every player know when you block a punt, you pick it up and run. You don't jump on it. Who cares if the Panthers recover it? It's your ball anyhow.
No, that was something that could have come back to hurt the Eagles, but fortunately, they were able to go down and score on that drive. Yeah, and you're exactly right. I mean, if you got that opportunity, especially being on the Eagles, you need to take that ball and at least try to take it into the end zone because we've seen enough touchdowns called back for penalties on the Eagles, and we've also seen them fail enough inside the red zone this season.
Yeah, definitely.
There's no guarantees. And the one thing, though, that did stand out, though, was the kicker, Elliott, seems to be doing pretty good this season. There's that kick he made at the end of the half kind of gave them a little bit of momentum.
What is there, helium in the ball this year?
Well, it was interesting.
58-yard field goal.
Well, the thing about that was Chris Collinsworth mentioned that on the Sunday night game. He said, well, pretty soon we're going to be seeing regular 70-yard field goals the way things are going.
There's definitely something with the ball. It has to be. There's guys. There's Nick Folk on the New England game against Tampa Bay. Thursday, what was that? Was that Thursday? No,
that was a Sunday night game last week.
Sunday night game. That guy couldn't kick 48-yard field. He kicked the 56-yarder. It hit the upper part of the goalpost.
Yeah, and the thing is, that's a good field goal if the weather's different. I mean, it's wind, rain, the field's field's wet, and he kicked that, and that would have been good from 66 yards if the weather was good.
It looks like they're kicking balloons. I mean, that's crazy. Yeah.
It'll come down to a big Jake Elliott field goal on Thursday, and he'll shank it. I don't think it's going to be that close against Tampa. It's going to be a struggle for the Eagles, I think.
Well, the thing that gets me, once again, it's only a 7-point line. 6.5 in some places.
Yeah, coming off that win, I guess that's why it's like that. Tampa on the road, the short week. I don't know. I don't know if the issue with Brady's thumb has anything to do with it. I think he's fine.
Yeah, he doesn't miss games.
So, I don't see that as an issue.
Another 7-catch performance from him. He had 7 catches, 77 yards. 5 games, he has 25 catches for 314 yards.
Yep.
1 touchdown. Averaging 12.5 a catch.
Couple touchdowns called back.
Yeah, that one deep one he went out of bounds on. Yeah.
And the one that won, I guess on Sunday, the one that was the pick play was called.
Yep. 2 touchdowns.
That was a nice short, quick slant, a nice pass by Hurts. It just so happens that it was illegal to pick that guy.
Yeah, Greg Ward.
Yeah, I mean, it was right there in front. When I saw it back, I'm like, yeah. And the thing is, I don't think he needed to do that.
No, he didn't. I was going to say it was an unnecessary penalty.
It was.
He had him beat anyway.
Yeah.
I think the Eagles will be without Goddard this week too, unless he miraculously gets cured from COVID. He has to have two negative tests within 24 hours. They're running out of time for that to get done.
Yeah, and I heard the report today, and I forget the name. It was the name I had heard before that they were going to probably have to activate someone from the practice squad. And
I know that he has a name under to Oregon State.
Yeah, him, and then there was another name too that was a possibility. I mean, it was a guy who's been with the Eagles before, and the name just escapes me now. But that's going to hurt the Eagles because Ertz is just. I mean, he's just up there in age, and there was a ball that would have sustained a drive for the Eagles on Sunday that he just went through his hands, and that's not the Zach Ertz we're used to seeing. The one time Hurts was able to scramble a little bit and put the pass right on the money, and it went through the hands.
Yeah, he was pretty much a last-minute decision. They didn't have him on that, so they brought him back. Mm-hmm. Just last season in the NFL. They can just get away. Might become a backup somewhere, maybe like Dallas or something. But yeah, he won't. He's done being a star, Pro Bowler.
Yeah, and the thing is, the Eagles do have a guy who is good enough to be in there, Goddard, but just happened to come down with, unfortunately, with COVID. I mean, I would guess he's vaccinated, but still got the disease. So do the math on that one.
Yeah, what they said. He's fully vaccinated. I don't know if he got his boosters or not. But.
Yeah, I'm not. Yeah, I'm not. I'm not sure. Hopefully, that's not something that goes to somebody else on the team. Even though I think coming up on Thursday, it's not going to make much difference. Unless they're bringing Nick Foles back to play in that game.
Speaking of players out with COVID, the Seattle Kraken make their debut tonight. I haven't mentioned that. They have 5 players already out tonight. The COVID-19 restricted list. We'll start off in Las Vegas without 5 players right off the bat.
They're coming to Philadelphia within a week,
they?
I believe.
Yeah.
We'll do the real quickly the world famous Flyers Minute because they do start on Friday, and the NHL starts tonight, but the Flyers don't start till Friday, and the Vancouver Canucks come in on Friday, and then we will be starting the show next week talking about the Flyers' huge victory over the Seattle Kraken, who they play Monday night. No, we won't be starting the show with that, probably. Odds are it will be Sixers drama that we'll be starting the show with next week.
Yep.
But yeah, you're right with that starting NHL starting tonight, and I put a tweet out last night, and it didn't get too much of a response. It was kind of my sideways personality, joking or whatever. I say go Pens, and then that's going to keep up the trend because the Rays got beat, knocked out of the playoffs.
Yeah.
The Pens are playing the Lightning, so that's 2 Tampa Bay teams down. Hopefully that would carry over to the Eagles on Thursday, but I don't see either of those Tampa teams losing. But then again, we didn't see the Rays losing either.
Yeah, especially to Boston. I did not see that coming. Almost like the Rays bullpen was not what they were during the rest of the season. I don't think they were burned out. They went with the bullpen game. He had Colin McHugh start. He's better off as a reliever, I think. And I think their lack of starting pitching hurt them. Of course it did. I mean,
well, do you want to bring up the elephant in the room? Nick Pivetta.
Oh, God. Yeah, he looks like Mariano Rivera coming out of the bullpen.
I didn't realize in the span of 3 days he threw 140 pitches. Wow.
Wow. 3 days?
Yeah. In the span of 72 hours, he ended up throwing 140 pitches. And, hey, all I got to say is good for him. But that guy couldn't get an out in Philadelphia. Now, I don't know what the situation was. I mean, I know when he left, he had some comments about Philadelphia when he was finally traded and things, and he didn't mention anything about it being the pressure of the fans or anything from the media. It was just the fact that the culture of the Phillies is just not one that's kind of conducive to players and winning. No kidding. No kidding. I mean, he was 9-8 this year with a pretty sizable ERA. I mean, it's a decent ERA if you're in the American League. I mean, he was 9-8, but he did start off well, and what he did for him in the playoffs here these last couple of games, I don't know if he'll be able to do that against Houston.
Who knows at this point?
Yeah.
Anybody can get lucky one game.
Exactly. And of course,
you.
I mean, that was a great trade for the Phillies when they ended up getting Brandon Workman for him and Connor Seabold.
Yeah.
I don't know if Seabold's going to be a pitcher in this league or not, but
probably not.
Well, I don't know. He's with Boston, so who knows if he'll come up through and be able to pitch all right. But that Brandon Workman didn't work out too well. My goodness.
I know. So before we came on the air, I was watching the Braves Brewers game. The Braves got 2 runners on, or facing Ashby, who was Andy Ashby's nephew, and he hit Adam Duvall on the elbow guard. It was like the pitch was almost a strike. It skimmed off the elbow guard, and it was like right outside the strike zone, a little bit inside. Now, the pitch hit his elbow guard. It didn't hit him. I mean, that's something I think baseball needs to look at. You have to be hit by the pitch. You're not, your elbow guard sticks out below your elbow. He just left it there. Kept his elbow. He's moving out of the way. I have a problem with the armor that they wear.
Chase Utley used to do that without the elbow guard on.
Right. Imagine going up with the body armor on and getting hit by pitches.
Or go up there with tassels and frills on, and if one of them gets caught.
Yeah, really. Exactly. Ultimate Warrior tassels. Yeah.
That's exactly what I thought about when he used to wear them around his arm and around his boots. And yeah, I mean, well, there was that controversial game this year that the Mets won where a guy got hit almost very, very similar, and the pitch was a strike.
Yeah.
I mean, they walked the game off the Mets because of the hit batter, but when you go back and look at it, it was a strike.
Yeah, early in the year against the Braves, I think that was.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, and I guess the game, I just checked it right now, it's 4-4 in the 7th. The Braves are winning the series 2-1. So,
yep.
Wow.
Well, amazing game.
Yeah, and I guess...
And so this could be a really, really unentertaining 4 teams left if the Giants win tonight. The Dodgers, I like to see the Dodgers win. I want to at least see some talent left. I think like a Giants-Red Sox World Series would be a snooze.
Yeah, I would agree with that. I don't think Gina, who does the show here on IE Sports Radio, your direct feed for all its sports, who does and covers the Giants on a weekly basis, and she does a great job. Guys, check out her show, Gina repping the NorCal Sports. I mean, I know she changed it from repping the Bay, but I don't think she'd mind a boring World Series if the Giants ended up winning it. And then again, it would spin all the way around to Philadelphia with Gabe Kapler.
Yeah. Wouldn't that be something? Gabe
Kapler and Darren Ruff.
Nick Pivetta, yeah. I don't see it. I know that she'd be happy and the Giants fans be happy, but as a baseball fan, I want to see the Dodgers there. I want to see the best players. I want to see Max Scherzer, Walker Buehler. I like to see the talent play in baseball. I don't want to see a World Series with lesser teams, as I call them.
Trey Turner as well, and I guess Buehler's going to pitch tonight to try to save the Dodgers season on short rest. So
facing Anthony Scafani, had a great.
Should be an interesting game tonight. I would expect the Giants to lose tonight and for it to go 5, but we'll see.
So, all right, I guess we'll take a break, then we'll come back and do some NASCAR.
Yes, and I want to have our segment with the Philly flashback. It's a very, very interesting one, and I know you'll have something to say about that as well. And before we go to break, guys, congrats to the Southern California Warriors who got a 44-0 victory this week over the Moreno Valley Mercury. I'm sorry, 44-0 over the Moreno Valley Mercury. And last week, when I said that they were 500 and need to get on the ball and get over 500, they picked it up. And congrats on a big victory. The world of semi-pro sports is unlike any other sports organization. Players pay to play in hopes of so many different outcomes, whether it's playing to get filmed, to try out for professional teams or big-time colleges, or just playing to stay in shape. No matter what, all semi-pro players have one thing in common, and that's playing for the love of the game. The SoCal Warriors have been on a quest to earn titles and give players a second chance since 2017. So whether you're in Southern California or anywhere in the world, give semi-pro sports a chance. If you love sports or you know someone who loves sports, and if you or that person needs to get back into sports, or you need to start semi-pro sports, check it out today. If you don't have any semi-pro sports in your area, there's no better place to get started than the Southern California Warriors. You can find them on Twitter at SoCal Warriors, Instagram, Southern California _Warriors, Facebook, Southern California Warriors. Check them out today. Now, let me talk to you guys out there if you have a business. If you have a business and you're looking to hire somebody, you need to get a background check. It's very important. You get a background check on anybody who you're looking to hire, and there's no better person to help you with that process than Kit Freeman. Let him take care of this process for you. Kit founded and has managed Background Check International since 1994, and he's here to help you with the screening process. Contact Kit today and let him make the hiring process that much easier for you. Get those background checks. The better employees you have, the better your business is going to be, the happier your customers are going to be. Let him help you today. That's Kit Freeman. You can find him on the website at bcint.com. That stands for Background Check International. Bobby and I will have more of Philly Sports Talk with Cash and Chris right here on IE Sports Radio. You know what it is. It's your direct feed for all that is sports.
Hey guys, it's Blake Henley, better known as H-Town Blake to some of you. Happy to announce that Bases Loaded is back in full force. We'll be bringing that high heat every Tuesday night here on IE Sports Radio. So come home, get ready, dig into that batter's box, and see if you can chase that high heat, baby. So we'll be coming to you live with all the stats, all the rundowns, all the division rivalries, and every team that's going to make the playoff push to get to that one and only October and get to the pinnacle of what baseball is, to hoist that Commissioner's Trophy when it's all said and done.
Hey, what's up, sports fans? You're looking for a different type of sports talk show, something you haven't heard before? You gotta check out the BS3 Sports Show every other Saturday on 2 Live Stews Radio, 1 p.m. Central Time, 2 p.m. Eastern. Sports talk at its finest. Always have great guests, playing some good hip-hop. You don't want to miss it. Make sure to tune in to the BS3 Sports Show every other Saturday at 1 p.m. Central Time, 2 p.m. Eastern.
What's good, fight fans? It's your boy, Marcus Los Great, here to give you what you want, here to give you what you need. Yeah, man. Yeah. I'm coming to you live, straight from your mama's basement with a crispy, awesome white tea. We are coming to you live every Tuesday at 10 p.m. Eastern Standard Time. Powered by IE Sports Radio, your direct feed for all that is sports.
Hey sports fans, do you like wine? Well, we've got the show for you. This is Let's Wine About Sports, a show where we talk about wine and sports simultaneously. From the classic Cabernet Sauvignon all the way down to the grapes that you've never even heard of before. Oh yeah, we cover it all. And we'll talk about a little bit of sports as well. Football, hockey, collegiate, women's sports, it doesn't matter. We're going to talk about it all, and we're going to whine about it all. So join me Monday at 8 p.m. on IU Sports Radio, your direct feed for all that is sports.
Everybody, this is Taryn Rodriguez. Are you a fan of volleyball? Are you a fan of Thunder Spikes? Then I have the show for you, Set Point, where I cover NCAA men's and women's volleyball, high school boys and girls volleyball, beach volleyball, and even professional volleyball. Catch the action every week here on IE Sports Radio, your direct feed for all that is sports.
6:45 here on the East Coast, 5:45 on the West. It just seems like this hour of Philly Sports Talk with Cash and Chris, right here on IE Sports Radio, your direct feed for all that sports, seems to be going by pretty fast. Interesting thing. I did not know this until I saw it come up on Twitter, but I guess it was 12 years ago today was the game where the Phillies defeated the Rockies, and it was the game where Ryan Howard just said, "Boys, get me up."
Rockies. That was they lost that series.
That was 2009, and the Phillies ended. No, that was the game. They clinched the series in Colorado, and that was the one where they were up. They were up a run late in the game. The Rockies came back and took a 4-2 lead, and going into the ninth inning, Ryan Howard, I guess, just made the comment to the bench, "Hey guys, just get me up and we'll win this game." And he got up with two guys on and smashed a double to right field off the wall. Utley and Victorino. It's interesting if you can find it to watch, because he hits the ball. Utley's on first, Victorino's on second. And Victorino's kind of waiting because he's waiting to see the ball gets caught, and when he rounds third, Utley's up like 2 or 3 yards behind him. And they crossed the plate and ended up winning. They ended up winning them because Jason Worth had a big hit to drive in the go-ahead run. And when that came up today, I saw someone posted that on Twitter today. I didn't remember, but I know exactly where I was when that happened because I was in Philadelphia at a Kiss concert. And it was back at the time when smartphones, 2009, I guess they were just kind of coming in or whatever, but there was people sitting behind me who either they were getting text from somebody else or whatever, because I didn't have the availability to watch or follow the game on my phone. I didn't have a smartphone. And it was like, once it got close to the end there, it was like, oh, okay. And then you could just hear a groan from, I'm like, what happened? Oh, the Rockies now took the lead. And it was like, oh. And then once the Phillies finally tied it up, I went out on the concourse, and there was a huge group of people out there watching it on the on TV and watching to get the final out. And I remember coming back into the concert, sitting down, and I was with my ex-wife then, and I said to her, "Kiss will announce that the Phillies won," and within a minute later, they did.
Wow.
Well, it was a fun night because after that happened, everyone was chanting BLA, which they ended up doing. I mean, that was the World Series. They ended up losing to the Yankees then, but
yeah, I don't remember much about that playoff besides the World Series. They played. I don't know. That's crazy. I don't remember that. When you said the Rockies, I thought the season before, like 2007, when they lost to the Rockies.
Yeah, when they lost 3 straight in 2007, when the Phillies finally they fought to the end in the regular season, and it came down to the last game where they beat the Washington Nationals, and the Mets ended up losing that game to the Marlins, and the Phillies finally made the playoffs for the first time since 1993, and they swept 3 straight to the Rockies.
Yeah, they didn't have much of a like the Sixers with the one step at a time. They went right to the World Series. Phillies didn't waste any time.
No, and it was. And the other thing too, though, the bittersweetness of that flashback being the fact is it's been 10 seasons without a playoff game for the Phillies, and it looks like there's a possibility of it being 10 more.
I know, there's no hope in sight. Very sad. You have one player worth anything on the whole team.
Unless they're going to go out and try and buy something. I mean, I didn't like the comments from David Bowski where he was talking about the stars that they have and throwing JT Realmuto in there and throwing Aaron Nola in there as a star, Gene Segura,
I know, I heard that.
Rhys Hoskins. Yeah, these are your best players. Because they're your best players doesn't equal stars.
Exactly.
It's amazing too because the Rockies, you don't think about it, because 2007 the Rockies knocked the Phillies out of the playoffs, and here we're in 2009, it's Phillies Rockies again, and you look at those two teams now, and they're, I mean, the Phillies are a better team than the Rockies with their record this year, but the Rockies haven't been a contending team here for a couple of seasons as well.
They pretty much knocked us out of the playoffs.
This year they did, yeah, and I think we saw that coming. Unfortunately, a team that couldn't win to save.
Win a road game.
They could win a road game to save their life, but they have a problem beating the Phillies.
Well, from baseball, we're going to go to our secret favorite sport, NASCAR.
What a very, very interesting, a frustrating race as a Hamlin fan, but a very, very interesting and fun race that was on Sunday.
And Kyle Larson, he can win on the speedways, he can win on the road course.
Mm-hmm.
I think if we were with the old system, he would have been the champion, guaranteed, but...
Yeah, it would be a moot point at this point. That was back in the days when Jimmy Johnson was the guy who, by this time in the season, he would have had it wrapped up.
Right, that's why they changed it.
Yeah,
fans weren't watching the last few races. Well, we had 4 drivers were eliminated, including Kevin Harvick, Christopher Bell eliminated. McDowell had already been eliminated. Well, I tried to guess, and we have Byron was eliminated, Bowman was eliminated. So,
and Texas Motor Speedway this Sunday at 2:00. It's going to be interesting, and it'll be one of those things too where we won't be distracted by the Eagles because they would have already lost to the Buccaneers on Thursday.
Exactly. So it's going to shape up like this. Larson's up in first. He's 35 points ahead of Allen, who is in second. And then he's 6 points. Actually, he's only 1 point ahead of Mark Truex. Truex really closed the gap.
He sure has.
Yeah, he's only 1 point out of second, and then 5 more points back to Ryan Blaney, who sits in the final spot. And Kyle Busch, who's only 1 spot behind Blaney. 1 point behind, I should say. And Chase Elliott's only 1 point behind Kyle Busch in sixth. Back 9 more points to Joey Logano and 14 to Keselowski. So Keselowski most likely will have to win a race in order to get into the final 4. It's going to be tough for him to pass all those drivers unless they all have a bad race.
Yeah, but I wouldn't put this one past him that he'll at least, barring any accident, I think he'll be right there competing for the win on Sunday.
Yeah, Texas is on a track.
It is.
And they go to Kansas and Martinsville before the final race in Phoenix.
Yep.
So it should be interesting. I thought Chase Elliott won the race yesterday. Of course, he had the end of his car and he looked around. He still finished, 9th? He was up there in the top 10 to 15. Not a bad job with the kind of car he had. It looked like his car belonged in the junkyard. Blaney's been another surprise. The fact that he's in 4th. He had a couple wins late in the year. He's at 16-1 to win the championship. That's not a bad bet.
No, it's not. And like you said, with Truex coming up, I mean, he's probably around that same thing, around the 16-1.
8.5 to 1.
Okay. Yeah, and he's a guy who definitely I could see being right there and coming down to that last race in Phoenix. It's one of those things to think about this season and the number of victories from different guys going all the way through, and not always a big name or a driver that's highly recognized wasn't winning every race this season. It's been a very, very good NASCAR season, and hopefully there's nothing that changes that going into the crowning a champion here, coming down to the end. And of course, we all know Denny Hamlin's going to win it. I mean, we're keeping that hush hush here, but I would. He seems to be right there every year, and something. It'll be.
It all comes down to one race.
It'll come down to a restart in one race.
You could technically finish 20th in the race and win the championship. I mean, it's crazy.
Yep.
Yeah, anything can happen. One race, like a game 7 of a playoff series. The whole season comes down to that Phoenix race. Joe Gibbs has 3 cars left. Hendrick has 2. Penske has 3. Hendrick, all those wins, and now they only have 2 drivers left. They have Kyle Larson and a dominant driver.
Yeah, Joe Gibbs. I mean, once he was done with the NFL, he found something else that he was good at for sure. He was the guy who always, with their coaching the Redskins, was always a pain in the Eagles' backside for a lot of years. It was always
Brett Doherty's basketball player too. He's been involved with NASCAR for a long time now.
he has. I mean, and he's done a lot of commentating over the years on NASCAR and things like that. A guy who should have been a Sixer.
Yeah. They took over him, Roy Hinton.
They traded. Well, they didn't even draft. They traded the number 1 pick away to get Roy Hinton, and how'd that work out for him?
Roy Hinton.
Yeah, the Sixers have had quite an interesting history of number 1 draft picks over the years. It's amazing they've had so many number 1 picks in drafts, and Ben Simmons, one of them.
Not only have they had a lot of number 1 picks, they've gotten a lot of number 1 picks for trades and signings over the years. Like Glenn Robinson, Joe Smith, Allen Iverson, of course.
As my eyes caught out of the corner of them on the television, Freddie Freeman with a home run in the 8th inning to put the Braves ahead.
Yep. Got the MVP stretch in the playoffs.
That guy's pretty good.
I don't think it'd be Bryce Harper or Tom Soto.
Yeah, that's going to be an interesting thing to see where he ends up after this season. I mean, I don't like we've talked about before. He seems like a guy who would be content staying there in Atlanta, but I don't know if the lure of money from either Chicago, St. Louis, or New York will appeal to him, or possibly the Angels. I don't know. I don't know if those guys are going to spend that type of money, but you would have to think he's going to be getting up there into the Harper type contract, Lindor.
The Phillies, don't think the Phillies will sign him?
No. No, the Phillies are going to give you Reese Hoskins.
Yeah.
Just to touch on this before we end, though, what is your view on, since we brought up Reese Hoskins there, what's your view on the DH in the National League? Are you for it or against it?
It used to be against it, now I'm for it.
Yeah, I agree. I feel, I mean, that would be exactly how I would phrase it. And we didn't sit down and coordinate this or not, because I would have been against it just because it was always a little bit of strategy in there, and it just set the two leagues apart. But now, the way baseball is, the way how bad pitching is, and the fact that you might as well just do that and not have, because it's one of those things to where, like I said, as bad as pitching can be in some games, you get a pitcher who's going well, and depending on the game, you may have to pull him so he doesn't have to bat, and that shouldn't be.
Well, I think if they do go with the DH, I'd like to see them expand rosters.
Yeah, true.
Because you have to carry an extra offensive player or two.
Well, and
left-hander, right-hander.
And what that can do also is, the other thing too is, and I look at it as a Phillies fan, obviously, but it can take a little bit of the wear and tear off of a Bryce Harper or the best catcher in baseball.
Yeah, I was just going to say, you can bring up Marshawn, make him a catcher, and then put the best catcher in baseball at the DH.
Right, and that's the same. Yeah, the Phillies are loaded with guys who could be a DH. Alec Boehm, Harper every now and then, definitely JT. When you look at Reese Hoskins could be a DH.
They're an American League team behind the National League.
Yeah, true.
Oh, and by the way, I think we talked about before whether or not they do the runner on second and extra innings in the playoffs. They don't do it.
They do not, which is just like hockey. It's not 3-on-3, and it's not 3-on-3 once they get to the playoffs.
Right. One person happened, and it finally happened. I wasn't sure either way. I thought they might have done it, but didn't. I don't like that rule one bit.
No, I get the reasoning behind it, but I don't like it either.
What, you don't bullpen?
Yeah. Yeah, so you don't have those games that go 17, 18, 19 innings and different things like that.
I always like that once a year you get a game like that. Never mind that.
Wilson,
I'm not out there playing.
Wilson Valdez game.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, and it was
Well,
it's one of those things too where it, to me as a baseball fan, and baseball being my favorite sport and being the sport that I played the most and being the sport that I coached the most, it got to be a frustration to me because if I see a guy on second base, nobody out, I'm looking for the bunt. That's not baseball anymore. I get that, but hey, it's still.
It was last night.
You know, a run's a run, no matter how you get it across the plate. And yeah, I don't know if that's going to come back next year or not. If they're going to keep that, I think if they go to the DH, they won't keep that.
Oh, they vote on that kind of stuff at the owner meeting. So.
I think that's going to be the trade-off.
Yeah, we'll find out in the offseason.
Yeah, it's amazing that you could just do that, like right, a month or a couple months before the season starts. Well, we're going to have the DH now this year.
Exactly.
Yeah, next.
Right,
yep. I was just going to say next week on the show we'll probably be more talking about the upcoming Eagles game, which probably be more interesting than talking about the fact that they got crushed by the Buccaneers, and the Flyers will have had 2 games already, so we'll see where they are after facing Vancouver and Seattle. NASCAR, interesting race on Sunday, and more Sixers drama.
Absolutely, yeah. And breaking news, Ben Simmons passed his physical. So he's cleared to join the team.
Hey, the soap opera continues.
For wondering.
The Sixers Days of Our Lives is continuing.
Yep, exactly.
Before we...
Let me thank you to the chat board. We had Taylor, Shane, and Aaron. Thanks for joining us tonight. Go ahead.
Yeah, and if anybody wants to hit you up on Twitter, where do they find you?
At Bobby Cash 215. At Bobby Cash 215.
Chris Amos 717, and that's Chris Amos 717. Contact us. Follow along with us. We make some comments during the week, and we don't mind if you come on and disagree with us and give us your opinion and tell us why our opinion is the wrong one. That seems to be the theme where a lot of people like to tell me how my takes are wrong and how Bobby's takes are wrong. I just never see an example of that.
Not this week. I was to Jalen Hurts. I pulled over him. I didn't get one comment. I think he was man.
Yeah, we won't get many comments of people telling us we're wrong about picking Tampa Bay to win on Thursday. Yeah, everybody who joined us in the chat, thank you. Everybody who downloads the podcast, wherever you can find us on any platform, thank you. We will be back here next week at 8 p.m. And before we go, let me talk to you guys once again about the Southern California Warriors, semi-pro football team who had a big 40-0 win this week. And that actually put them over the 500 mark for the season, so hopefully they can keep it up. The Southern California Warriors semi-pro football team, they have been on a quest to earn titles and give players a second chance since 2017. Now, the world of semi-pro sports is unlike any other. Players pay to play in hopes of so many different outcomes, whether it's playing to get film, to try out for professional teams or big-time colleges, or just playing to stay in shape. No matter what, all semi-pro players have one thing in common, and that's playing for the love of the game. The SoCal Warriors have been on a quest since 2017 to earn titles, so whether you are in Southern California or anywhere in the world, give semi-pro sports a chance. If you're someone who wants to get back into sports, or you know someone who should be getting back into sports, check out semi-pro sports in your area. If you don't have semi-pro sports in your area, find on all social media platforms the SoCal Warriors. That's your place to start. SoCal Warriors on Twitter, at SoCal Warriors. Instagram, Southern California _Warriors. Facebook, Southern California Warriors. If you have a business and you're looking to hire somebody, a background check is an essential part of the hiring process, and what you need to do is let Kit Freeman take care of this process for you. Kit founded and has managed Background Check International since 1994, and he's here to help you with the screening process. Contact Kit and let him help you make the hiring process that much easier. All that's going to do is benefit you. It's going to benefit your employees, which ultimately benefits your business and your customers. BCINT.com, which stands for Background Check International, is the website. Once again, BCINT.com, Background Check International. Contact Kit today. He will help you with the hiring process. Thanks, everyone. I'm Chris Amos. Bobby, a final word?
Go Eagles.
Go
That's
Eagles. Hey, they beat Tom Brady in the Super Bowl. Maybe Thursday night the same thing will happen. We will see you next week right here on Philly Sports Talk with Cash and Chris. It's IE Sports Radio, your direct feed for all that is sports.
Good night, everybody.
Yes, I would quit.